Welcome back to the channel, and if it's your first time here, I guess just welcome. We live in a world that has put an absolute premium on attention. I mean, it could be argued that attention has become the ultimate currency because it's finite. We live in a world with constant content and information and distraction. That's unlimited, but your attention to take that all in, that's the finite part. Because of the constant pushing and pulling of attention, I find myself in a different headspace than I was even just a decade ago. But the strange part is that really this last decade has been a waterfall effect leading me and so many other people to where our brains are now. I have a hyperactive mind, and chances are you probably do too. But before that hyperactive mind takes you down another YouTube rabbit hole, I ask you to just hit the like button below so the YouTube algorithm pushes this out to other people, because I find this super important for everyone to understand. Once I explain how this looks in life and in business, I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to combat it, because really it is a battle at the end of the day. The definition of hyperactive refers to constant activity, being easily distracted, impulsiveness, and just the inability to concentrate. It also includes fidgeting and constant moving. I see this in myself and people around me every single day. Now, it's not a mental disorder, even though it sounds like one. It's just the way the world is now. In the span of just writing out the script for this video, I left my desk like 6 times. I checked my email a bunch of times. I was checking my phone. I was not able to focus on a YouTube video about being focused. That's a problem. We are surrounded by alerts and notifications and pings and visual cues just about everywhere we go. And because of this, we've been conditioned in a way that generations before us just can't even understand. Now, Gary Vaynerchuk argues that the battle for attention has always existed, whether it's the magazines that are trying to get your attention, or the newspapers, or the guy in the town square that's like yelling about some sort of crazy thing, back in the day. The battle for attention has always existed. The attention economy is not new, but what's happened over the last decade, in my opinion, is. Let's tackle business first. Let's talk business. Cal Newport's book, A World Without Email, touches on a lot of these issues in the business world. He even uses a phrase called the hyperactive hive mind, which he defines as the constant ongoing conversation within an organization in which employees' activities are determined by the messages in their IMs or their email box. Basically, we let our email run our day and determine what we do next. Think about how many times you've sat down ready to do your work just to have your boss tell you that you need to drop everything and do this via this email that he just sent you. And then by the time you get that done, you have another coworker hit you up on an IM and it's urgent. We need to get this fixed. You need to do this, and you have to go help her out. And before you know it, you do that a couple times throughout the day and you actually never get any of your work done. Bada boom, bada bing, your important work gets pushed off into the future, usually at the expense of not very important work to you or even really to the company. In the same book, Newport cites that knowledge workers, which is just a fancy term for people that are in front of a computer all day, check their email or IM once every 6 minutes. 6 minutes. 1/3 of their day is spent checking their messages to see what their next course of action needs to be. Or if there's even nothing there, they're still checking it because they've been conditioned to do so. A 2018 study by Rescue Time that observed 50,000 people observed that really you are only doing, on average, these same knowledge workers, 1 hour and 15 minutes of uninterrupted work per day. That's it. The other 7 hours is spent just distracted or doing a bunch of different tasks that you weren't expected to do, checking emails, things like that. And it's no wonder why my brain is the way it is, because I've been in this world for 7 years, a part of the hyperactive hive mind. Now, think about what it looks like on your personal life. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've sat down to watch a show with my wife, and within 2 minutes, we're both on our phones while we're watching a show. So you have the distraction of my grandparents' generation. The TV came along. It was a huge deal. That's what people used, to spend their time and attention on. And we can't even get through a show without being on our phones also. That's crazy. Not to mention when people go out to eat and they're with friends or on a date or things like that, and they can't even handle 5 minutes of conversation before they have to check their phone or be on their phone. Hey, guilty. My hands up. I've done it as well, but it's just crazy. Our brains are just asking us for constant stimulation, but really what they're asking you for is for a break. So it doesn't have to be this way. I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to combat the hyperactive mind. Number 1, stop multitasking. I don't know when it happened, but I feel like it became the cool thing to do, which was do as many tasks as you could at the same time, and that would make you look super busy and you would be looked at as someone who was very productive and getting a lot done. And in reality, the science does not support that. Rapidly switching back and forth between tasks takes a ton of energy, and it actually takes you a lot longer to accomplish these tasks if you keep moving back and forth than if you had just focused on one single task at a time. If we embrace single tasking, not only will we get better work done faster, but we'll also be able to slowly push back against that hyperactive mind, because it's not going to condition us to keep needing more and more things to be doing at the exact same time. Number 2, get out and walk around in nature. Now, this seems to come up a lot in like stoicism and productivity YouTube and self-improvement YouTube about the benefits of walking around in nature, but I have a little bit different of a spin on it. On the Joe Rogan podcast, Michael Easter, a professor at the University of Nevada, talks about how he hears things that people do that are pretty crazy, like I'm addicted to my phone, so I need to lock it away in a phone jail. Hand up, guilty again, I got one of those. But what he says is really important is the next thing that you do after you put your phone away in that phone jail. A lot of people, they say, I'm going to spend some time away from my phone, and then they go and watch Netflix for a couple hours. That's not helping you accomplish what you need to accomplish. What you need to do is if you put your phone away, you need to spend time just with yourself without thinking or doing anything. Your brain needs a break. And there's no better break in the world than just taking a walk outside. Not meant to mention all the crazy health benefits that come with walking around in nature. That's a whole other podcast in itself. It's just going to allow your brain to reset, and you're going to be able to enjoy something that you're not doing right now that's going to make you feel a lot more relaxed. So whether that means going outside and just walking around the block, walking down to the park, going hiking, going up a mountain, whatever it might be for you, get out and do it as much as you possibly can. And do it without your phone. Let yourself think. Even if it's just for a short period of time, anything is better than what you're doing right now. Number 3, block off your day and lock yourself away. A sick rhyme by me. You need everyone in your life to respect your boundaries, but they won't know what your boundaries are unless you tell them or put it into your calendar where your workers or coworkers or your boss can see. Now, I know some of you have, kids and bosses and coworkers, so this can be kind of hard, but I'm going to hopefully explain a few tips on how to make it easy. You don't need to set aside 8 hours a day to be productive. I'm a firm believer that you really just need 2 hours every single morning of uninterrupted, just dedicated work, the work that you need to do and the work that you want to do. And then maybe an hour every single afternoon just to, scoop anything else up that you might have missed along the way. We're talking 15 hours a week. We've made so many advances in technology and society over the last 50 to 100 years that we should be working really just focused, dedicated 15-hour work weeks that are spent solely on the work we need to do. But in reality, we're spending 40 to 55 hours a week just jumping from task to task all day like it's craziness. And the person that's working less hours but more focused, detailed work is doing way more than the person that's doing 40 to 55 hours of just back and forth work. And at the very least, they might be doing the exact same, which means the person that's working like 15 hours a week, they're winning. In Robin Sharma's book, The 5 a.m. Club, he talks about the tight bubble of total focus, which sounds a little weird, but what it means is that you need a space, whether it's in your office or in your home, where you can just lock yourself away. No phone, no kids, no distractions, no TV, nothing on the background like a YouTube video on your computer, maybe a little bit of music to set the mood, but really you need a space that allows you to focus 100% on your work uninterrupted. If you can do this, not only will you combat the hyperactive mind that just really wants you to do a million things at once and you can just focus on doing one thing and doing it really, really well, you're going to get better work done faster than all of your other competitors, your employees, everything. They're going to ask you what your secret is, and your secret is working less, but dedicating and really focusing on your work. Last but not least, number 4 is meditating. Now, another one that you're going to find all over self-improvement YouTube, but the reason for meditating when it comes to the hyperactive hive mind is super important. It's really the only time that you can guarantee during a day that you have removed yourself from everything and all you have is your own brain, is your own thoughts. And that's a powerful thing these days. It just focuses you to be distraction-free for a certain amount of time. Now, you might want to start small, maybe 2 minutes, then 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 20 minutes. But before long, you're going to come to really appreciate that time that you have with yourself, and so will your brain. You're going to get better, more creative work done. There's a lot of wins when it comes to meditation. Even if it's that small period of time, like I said, a small investment, it's just huge long-term gains. So there you have it. That's the hyperactive mind. And those are my 4 tips on how to combat it. Stop multitasking, get out and walk around in nature, block off your day and lock yourself away, and meditate. If you made it this far, congrats. Your hyperactive mind allowed you to focus on one thing for like 10 to 15 minutes. Good on you. And hopefully you're very aware now of what your brain is doing. As always, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, tell a friend about this. This is the kind of stuff that I'm really passionate about, and I'm hoping that you're learning from it as well. Like everything in life, the hyperactive mind, it's a hard and very challenging thing to fight against. You just got to take it one small step at a time, but the good news is we're all in this together. Not a scientist or a doctor, just a normal guy on a quest to better himself.